Chosen one. Can you feel it? That restless stirring in your chest right now? Have you been lying awake at 3 a.m. lately, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your soul feels like it's outgrown your skin? Do you ever catch yourself looking in the mirror and thinking, this person staring back at me, this isn't who I really am, is it? Here's the truth they don't want you to know. Your body has been a prison. And tonight, the warden is handing you the keys. Right now, you're not just watching a video, you're walking into a divine appointment. I don't know if you're lying in bed or sitting quietly by a window. Maybe it's 2 a.m. and you can't sleep again. But heaven knows exactly where you are. Because tonight, your soul's about to leave your body. Not in fear, not in death, but in revelation. Tonight will unfold like a movie. But you won't just be the viewer, you'll be the main character, and your body will no longer be holding you back. For years, you felt it, haven't you? That suffocating sense that you're living someone else's life. That burning, aching knowing deep inside that whispers, there's more. There has to be more. You've prayed about it, you've cried about it, you've probably even questioned your sanity about it. That voice was never wrong. See, most people think the physical realm is all there is. They live and die never knowing they were spiritual beings temporarily trapped in flesh. But you're different. You've always known you were made for something beyond this world, something your earthly eyes have never seen. Before we go any deeper, I want to thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead. But here's what I need from you right now. If your heart starts stirring while I speak, if something deep inside you is awakening like a sleeping giant, I want you to type 2099 in the comments. That number will be your signal to heaven that you're ready. Ready for your soul to take flight. Ready to experience what it means to exist beyond the physical realm. Because, chosen one, tonight changes everything. The curtain is rising. The movie of your life is about to begin its most extraordinary scene. Your spirit has been rehearsing for this moment since the day you were born. Are you ready to step out of your body and into your destiny? The show is about to begin. Why do you feel like a stranger in your own life? Why does every crowded room leave you feeling more alone than when you walked in? Why does success taste like sand in your mouth when everyone else seems to be feasting? Listen to me carefully. Chosen one. That aching emptiness you've carried for decades, that feeling like you're living someone else's script while your real story sits locked away in some cosmic vault. It's not depression. It's not a midlife crisis. It's not even loneliness. It's recognition. Your soul recognizing that you don't belong to this world the way others do. You never have. And tonight, you're about to discover why. See, most people stumble through life thinking they're accidents of biology, random collections of cells that somehow learn to think and feel. But you've always known better, haven't you? You've felt it in your bones, that you were planned, purposed, set apart before time began. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Those aren't just pretty words from Jeremiah 1-5. That's your birth certificate signed by the creator of the universe. You are not watching this because of a YouTube algorithm. You're not here because you clicked on a random video at 2 a.m. when sleep wouldn't come. You're watching this because heaven wrote this moment before your mother even held you. Before your first heartbeat, God already whispered your name into existence. But here's what's been driving you crazy all these years. You've felt it, haven't you? Like the world's melody was always a note off, and you were hearing something different. When everyone else was dancing to one rhythm, you were swaying to a frequency they couldn't even detect. That's not confusion, dear one. That's your frequency being tuned to something higher. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. 1 Peter 2-9 isn't talking about some future generation. It's talking about you. Right now, sitting wherever you are, feeling like you've never quite fit the mold this world tried to squeeze you into. That restlessness that keeps you up at night? That's not insomnia. That's your spirit pacing, knowing it was made for more than the mundane routine that's been suffocating you for years. That feeling like you're watching your life from the outside, like you're an actor playing a role that was written for someone else. That's because you are playing the wrong role. You've been living in the world's movie when God scripted you for his epic. Think about it. How many times have you sat in church, surrounded by hundreds of people, and felt completely invisible? How many family gatherings have you attended where you smiled and nodded while feeling like you were speaking a foreign language? How many friendships have you tried to maintain that felt like wearing shoes 2 sizes too small? That wasn't rejection. That was redirection. God has been quietly, systematically removing you from everything that would dilute your purpose. Every door that slammed shut wasn't punishment, it was protection. Every relationship that fell apart wasn't failure, it was refinement. Every dream that died wasn't defeat, it was God clearing the stage for something beyond your imagination. That loneliness you've felt all your life, it wasn't isolation, it was consecration. You were being set apart, separated, sanctified for a calling so specific, so uniquely yours, that no one else could contaminate it with their opinions, their limitations, their small thinking. God has been jealously guarding your destiny, and that required keeping you apart from those who would never understand it. Remember when you were a child and adults would ask what you wanted to be when you grew up? Remember that burning sensation in your chest when you tried to put words to the enormity of what you felt called to do? Remember how their faces changed when you couldn't explain it in terms they recognized: doctor, lawyer, teacher. Remember how you learned to give smaller answers, safer answers, answers that wouldn't make them look at you like you were delusional. That burning never left, did it? It just got buried under decades of other people's expectations, under mortgages and responsibilities, and the crushing weight of trying to be normal when you were created to be extraordinary. But tonight, right now, that fire is about to break through the surface again, and this time nothing is going to contain it. You see, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And you, chosen one, have been in his celestial training program your entire life. Every heartbreak taught you compassion. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every failure taught you humility. Every moment of feeling like you didn't belong was God preparing you for the moment when you discover where you do belong. And that moment is tonight. Because here's what's about to happen. Your soul, that part of you that's been screaming for freedom while your body played it safe, is about to break free. Not metaphorically, not symbolically. Literally, tonight, you're going to experience what it means to exist beyond the physical limitations that have been holding you prisoner. But the question that will determine everything is this: are you ready to stop being who the world told you to be and start becoming who God created you to be? Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you will change how you see death, life, and everything in between. You've been living in a body that was never meant to contain the fullness of who you are. For decades you felt cramped, limited, like trying to pour the ocean into a coffee cup. Tonight, that container breaks open, and you discover you were never the cup, you were always the ocean. The pain you've carried, that deep, unexplainable ache in your chest when you look at your reflection, when you think about all the dreams that died, all the words you never spoke, all the love you never gave. That pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation. God was stretching your soul, making it too big for flesh and bone to hold. Tonight, you'll feel a stillness, a release, and suddenly it will feel like you're floating. But listen to me carefully. No, you're not dying. You're remembering. You're remembering what it felt like before you were squeezed into 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet of human limitation. Before arthritis told you to slow down. Before the mirror showed you wrinkles that your spirit doesn't recognize. Before the world convinced you that your best years were behind you. The departure begins like a feather lifting from your body. One moment, you feel the weight of 70, 80, 90 years pressing down on your bones. The next, you're lighter than air itself. It's not violent. It's not frightening. It's like finally exhaling after holding your breath your entire life. Scripture tells us, we are confident, yes, well pleased rather, to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. 2 Corinthians 5-8. Paul wasn't talking about dying, dear one. He was talking about awakening, about stepping out of the costume you've been wearing and remembering who you really are underneath. The veil between realms isn't thick like we imagined. It's thin as tissue paper. And tonight, you're going to step right through it like walking from one room to another. On this side, you've been shuffling with a cane, struggling with medications, feeling forgotten by a world that worships youth. But on the other side, you remember, you are eternal. You'll experience what I call falling upward. Gravity releases its grip, not just on your body but on your dreams, your hopes, your sense of possibility. Every "it's too late" melts away. Every "you're too old" becomes a lie you can finally see clearly. You rise not because you're leaving Earth, but because you're finally free to be who God created you to be, without the limitations of flesh holding you back. And when you see what's on the other side, you'll understand why the pain was permitted. Every sleepless night when your body ached but your spirit burned with purpose. Every moment you felt invisible while carrying wisdom that could change the world. Every time someone looked right through you because of your age, not knowing they were dismissing a warrior who had survived decades of battles they couldn't imagine. When your soul detaches from your body tonight, it will see, for the first time, the truth about who you are. You are not just someone's grandmother or grandfather fading into irrelevance. You are a light bearer, a breaker of generational chains, a sent one. The enemy convinced you that your season was over, but God is showing you that your real mission is just beginning. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23:4. But what if that valley isn't about dying? What if it's about the shadow your old life casts as you walk away from it? What if the shadow of death is just the death of who you thought you had to be, clearing the way for who you're becoming? Tonight, as your consciousness expands beyond the boundaries of skin and bone, you'll see the golden threads connecting every struggle you've endured. Every loss trained you for gain. Every ending prepared you for a beginning. Every time the world told you to step aside, heaven was positioning you for a moment just like this. Your departed spouse, your friends who've gone ahead, they're not gone. They're waiting in the realm you're about to enter. And they're going to show you something that will take your breath away. They're going to show you that everything you thought was over was actually just intermission. The movie of your life hasn't ended, chosen one. You've just been watching the previews. When your soul lifts tonight, and it will lift as surely as the sun rises, you won't be leaving your body behind as much as you'll be taking it with you, transformed, renewed, restored to the version of yourself that exists in God's heart, where arthritis has no power, where age is just a number that couldn't contain your spirit anyway. And here's what's going to shock you most of all. When you return to your body, and you will return, you won't come back the same. You'll carry the memory of who you really are. The limitations that felt so real this morning will feel like a costume you can choose to take off. But why is this happening to you specifically? Why tonight? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to describe isn't theology. It isn't theory. It's the moment your soul has been aching for since the day you took your first breath. You know that hollow feeling you carry, that emptiness that no relationship, no achievement, no earthly pleasure has ever been able to fill. Tonight, you discover what that void was always shaped for. Not something, someone. Isaiah saw it in chapter 6, verse 1. I saw the Lord, high and exalted. But here's what most people miss. Isaiah didn't describe God's appearance. He described God's presence, the overwhelming reality that love isn't just an emotion, it's a being. Your soul is about to step into that presence tonight. You won't see a throne. You won't hear thunder rolling across celestial plains. You won't witness some Hollywood version of divinity. What you'll experience is infinitely more powerful than anything your eyes could process. You'll just know that love is no longer an idea floating around in your head. It's a presence surrounding every molecule of your spiritual being. It's like coming home to a place you've never been, but always belonged. Remember Moses at the burning bush? Exodus 3-4 says God called to him from within the flame. But think about this. Moses didn't hear words first. He felt attention. Divine attention focused entirely on him. That's what's waiting for you tonight. The undivided attention of the Creator of the universe, focused completely on your heart. For 70, 80, maybe 90 years, you've been walking through this world feeling invisible, feeling like nobody really sees the real you. Your children love you, but they don't understand the depth of your soul. Your friends care, but they can't reach the places where you hurt. Even your spouse, God bless them, sometimes looks right through you without seeing the magnificent spirit you carry. But tonight, all of that changes. Tonight, you meet the one who has been watching you since before you were born, who counted every tear you cried when you lost your parents, who felt every moment of loneliness when your house got too quiet after the kids moved away, who witnessed every prayer you whispered in the dark when you thought nobody was listening. He was always listening. Here's what's going to shake you to your core. When your spirit meets his presence tonight, he won't ask you what you did wrong. He won't hand you a scorecard of your failures. He won't mention that time you lost your temper, or that season when your faith wavered, or those moments when you wondered if he even existed. He'll tell you what you are. And in that whisper, your spirit will weep. Not from shame, but from finally being known. Completely, perfectly, eternally. You'll hear it in the depths of your being. My beloved, my chosen, my masterpiece. Words that will undo every lie you've ever believed about yourself. Every moment you felt worthless, forgotten, or too old to matter anymore. Do you understand what I'm telling you? The God who spoke galaxies into existence knows your middle name, knows how you take your coffee, knows why you wake up at 3 a.m. sometimes with your heart racing, knows the secret dreams you've never told anyone because you thought you were too old to dream. If you've ever heard God's whisper in a dream, in a quiet moment, in the space between heartbeats, I want you to pause right now and type, I heard him. That's your altar tonight. That's your declaration that this isn't just a video you stumbled across. This is a divine appointment. The encounter waiting for you isn't about religion. It's about relationship. It's about the love story that's been writing itself since before time began. You are not an accident walking through a random universe. You are a chosen soul about to meet your Creator face to face, spirit to spirit. And when that moment comes, when his presence envelops your consciousness like warm light, you'll understand something that will change everything. Every heartbreak prepared you for this healing. Every loss opened space for this finding. Every lonely night was leading to this eternal embrace. Your soul has been homesick your entire life, not for a place, but for a person. Tonight, that homesickness ends. Tonight, you discover you were never lost. You were just on a journey back to the arms that formed you. But here's what you need to understand. This encounter isn't passive. It requires something from you. Not performance, not perfection, just surrender. The willingness to let go of every wall you've built, every guard you've posted around your heart. Because the voice that's been waiting to speak to you tonight has something to say that will rewrite your story. Something that will make every year you have left burn brighter than all the years behind you. Are you ready to hear what love himself has been waiting to tell you? Chosen one, do you want to know why you've felt like you're living in slow motion while everyone else seems to be racing ahead? Do you want to know why every door you thought was meant for you slammed shut in your face? Do you want to know why you've spent years feeling like God forgot your address? Here's the revelation that's going to shatter everything you thought you knew about your story. All your delays were divine detours. You see, while you were sitting there thinking you were falling behind, God was actually setting you up for the greatest comeback in human history. Every rejection, every closed door, every night you cried yourself to sleep wondering if you'd ever matter, that wasn't punishment, that was positioning. Romans 8:18 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." Not to us, chosen one, in us. You've been carrying glory inside your chest this whole time, and you didn't even know it. You weren't forgotten. You were forged. Think about a sword. When a master swordsmith creates a blade that will cut through anything, does he gently polish it with silk? Number. He throws it into the fire. He pounds it with a hammer. He bends it until it almost breaks. Not to destroy it, to perfect it. Every heartbreak was a hammer blow. Every disappointment was fire. Every setback was God removing the impurities from your spirit, so that when the world finally sees you, they won't just see another person, they'll see a weapon of divine purpose. But here's what's going to blow your mind. Remember when I asked you earlier, what if you were made for more? Well, now I'm going to tell you something that's going to make your knees shake. You weren't just made for more, you were made to be more. God didn't keep you small. He was growing your roots before he revealed your crown. You know what happens to trees that grow too fast? They topple over in the first storm because their roots never had time to dig deep. But you've been underground for years. Your roots have gone so deep into the soil of struggle that when your season finally comes, nothing on earth will be able to shake you. Every senior citizen watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about. You've lived long enough to see the young hotshots flame out. You've watched the overnight successes crash and burn. You've seen the people who got everything handed to them crumble when real pressure came. But not you. You've been pressure tested, battle tested, storm tested. You've survived things that would have destroyed weaker souls. You've endured seasons that would have made other people quit, and you're still here, still breathing, still believing. That's not coincidence. That's divine design. Esther 4:14 declares, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this." Royal position, chosen one. Not servant position, not victim position, royal position. But here's the part that's going to make you weep with recognition. Your royal position wasn't about timing, it was about training. God didn't make you wait because he was slow. He made you wait because what he's about to release through you requires a level of strength, wisdom, and spiritual authority that only comes through fire. Every 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old watching this, you think your best days are behind you. You think your impact is over. You think because your body is slowing down, your purpose is winding down. That's the biggest lie the enemy ever told. Your body may be aging, but your spirit is just getting started. Your spirit has been building spiritual muscle in the invisible realm, while everyone else was building earthly success in the visible realm. And tonight, when your soul leaves your body, you're going to see yourself the way heaven sees you. Not as an old person whose time has passed, as a general whose army is just arriving. You're going to see that every year you've lived, every tear you've cried, every prayer you've prayed in the darkness has been building something in the spiritual realm so massive, so powerful, so world-changing, that angels have been holding their breath, waiting for the moment when God says, "Now, release them, now." That moment is tonight. But here's what I need you to understand. This isn't just about you having a spiritual experience. This isn't just about you feeling better about your life. This is about you finally seeing the mission you were born to complete. Because when your spirit leaves your body tonight, you're not just going to meet God, you're going to meet the version of yourself that you were always meant to become. The version that's been waiting patiently while your earthly self struggled with doubt, fear, and the crushing weight of feeling ordinary. That version is anything but ordinary. So let me ask you again. What if you were made for more? What if every delay in your life was God's way of making sure you were ready for the assignment that's coming? What if tonight is the night everything changes? Your body may be here on earth, but your destiny is about to download from heaven. When your soul finally returns to your body tonight, everything will be different. Everything. You won't just wake up refreshed from a good night's sleep. You'll wake up transformed at a cellular level. Like Moses walking down from Mount Sinai with a glow no one could explain, you'll carry something in your eyes, in your presence, that wasn't there before. But here's what nobody prepared you for, chosen one. You won't see your body the same again. That flesh and bone you've been carrying around for decades. It's no longer a prison. It's become a sacred vessel. A temple housing something so powerful, so divine, that people will sense it the moment you walk into a room. Your hands will feel different when you touch someone's shoulder in comfort. Your voice will carry weight when you speak truth. Even your shadow will seem to cast light. And your home will feel too small for your purpose. And that's okay, because you've tasted eternity, you've breathed the air of heaven, you've seen what lies beyond the veil. How can 4 walls and a mortgage payment contain a soul that's walked with angels? How can a daily routine satisfy a spirit that's touched the face of God himself? This restlessness you'll feel, it's not discontent, it's divine discontent. It's God expanding your capacity because he's about to expand your assignment. Listen to what Jesus prayed for you in John 17:18. As you sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. You're not meant to stay in the spiritual realm forever. You're meant to bring heaven down to earth, to be heaven's ambassador in a world that's forgotten what glory looks like. But here's where most people miss it completely. They think this spiritual experience is supposed to make them peaceful, quiet, contemplative. They think they're supposed to sit in meditation and whisper gentle prayers. That's not what happened to Moses, that's not what happened to Paul, and that's not what's happening to you. Psalm 90:12 says, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." But what kind of wisdom? The wisdom that knows time is running out. The wisdom that understands urgency. The wisdom that refuses to waste another day playing small. You see, when Moses came down from that mountain, his face shone so brightly that the Israelites couldn't even look at him. They had to ask him to put a veil over his face because the glory was too intense. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Moses didn't come back gentle. He came back glowing with the power of the Almighty. And when Paul encountered Christ on the Damascus road, he didn't become a monk. He became a revolutionary. He turned the Roman Empire upside down. He planted churches in hostile territory. He faced lions, shipwrecks, and stonings because he carried something inside him that was stronger than death itself. You are not called to carry just peace, but power. Not just healing, but fire. This is the part they don't tell you in Sunday school. This is the part that makes religious people uncomfortable. When God touches your life at this level, when your soul has actually left your body and walked in heavenly places, you don't come back the same. You don't come back tame. You come back dangerous. Dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Dangerous to mediocrity. Dangerous to the lies that have held people in bondage for generations. Because now you've seen the truth. Now you know what's possible. Now you understand that the same power that raised Christ from the dead is living inside you. But here's what's going to happen over the next few days, and I need you to be ready for it. People are going to try to talk you out of what you experienced. They're going to say it was just a dream, just your imagination, just emotional manipulation. They're terrified of what you've become, because transformation is contagious. When one person breaks free from the matrix of ordinary living, it gives others permission to do the same. When one person starts operating in supernatural power, it exposes everyone else's powerlessness. Your family might not understand why you suddenly have no tolerance for gossip, why you can't sit through mindless television anymore, why you feel compelled to pray for strangers on the street. Your friends might not understand why you've lost interest in complaining about politics and started talking about kingdom purposes instead. Let them wonder, because you've been to the other side. You've seen what really matters. You've felt the heartbeat of eternity. And now you're carrying something back into this world that this world desperately needs. But I'm going to tell you something that might shock you. This experience you had tonight, it was just the beginning. God didn't give you a taste of heaven so you could spend the rest of your life reminiscing about it. He gave you a download of divine DNA so you could start operating as His son or daughter on earth. He showed you the spiritual realm so you could bring spiritual solutions to natural problems. The question is, what are you going to do with what you've seen? Because your community is waiting. Your family is waiting. This nation is waiting for someone who's been to the mountain and come back with fire in their eyes and purpose in their step. Are you ready to stop playing church and start being the church? Listen to me very carefully, chosen one. What I'm about to reveal will shatter everything you thought you knew about your pain. You see that scar on your heart? The one from when they betrayed you, abandoned you, told you that you weren't enough. You've been carrying it like a badge of shame, haven't you? Thinking it was evidence of your brokenness, proof that God somehow made a mistake with you. But what if I told you that scar wasn't an accident? What if every tear you've cried was actually carving out space for something magnificent? Before you were ever born, there was a scroll in heaven with your name written in gold ink. Not a plan, a design, not a rough draft that God was going to figure out as He went along. Number. This was divine engineering at its finest. Every detail, every curve, every seemingly broken piece was intentionally crafted by the master architect himself. You want to know why your life has felt like a series of devastating detours? Because what you thought were detours were actually divine architecture. Every wrong turn, every closed door, every moment when you felt like you were wandering in the wilderness, God was building a foundation under your suffering. He was laying groundwork that your eyes couldn't see, constructing something so powerful, so purposeful, that it required years of preparation. Think about it. When they build a skyscraper in Manhattan, do they start with the penthouse number? They dig deep. They go down before they go up. They excavate. They remove everything that's not supposed to be there. And to someone watching from the street, it looks like destruction. It looks like chaos. For months, all you see is a giant hole in the ground. But the architect knows better. King David understood this when he wrote in Psalm 139:16, "All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Every single day you've lived, the glorious ones and the gut-wrenching ones, they were all written down before you took your first breath. The days you wanted to give up? Written. The days you felt invisible? Written. The days you questioned whether God even knew your name? Written. But here's what's going to blow your mind. What's been buried in you is not broken. It's blueprint. Those dreams that died, they weren't destroyed, they were planted. That calling you felt in your 20s that life seemed to crush out of you. It wasn't crushed, it was compressed, like a diamond being formed under pressure. You've been walking around thinking you're damaged goods, haven't you? Believing the lie that your best years are behind you, that God can't use someone with your history, your mistakes, your age. But what if your history isn't your disqualification? What if it's your degree? What if your mistakes aren't your shame? What if they're your specialty? Every closed door was God protecting you from a life too small for your destiny. Remember that job you didn't get 20 years ago, the one that crushed you? What if God was saving you from settling? Remember that relationship that ended and left you feeling like you'd never love again? What if God was protecting your heart for something immeasurably greater? You see, the enemy's greatest weapon isn't temptation, it's timing. He convinces you that you're too late, too old, too broken, too far behind. He whispers, "If God really had a plan for you, wouldn't it have happened by now?" But God's timing isn't human timing. His delays aren't denials. His silence isn't absence. Your story was never on pause. Heaven was building a foundation under your suffering. Every rejection was redirection. Every setback was set up. Every loss was actually making room for gain. God wasn't teaching you how to survive, He was teaching you how to soar. But you can't soar until you understand that your wings were forged in the fire of your pain. Look at Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. For years, it looked like his dreams were dead. But God wasn't killing the dream, He was developing the dreamer. Every injustice was adding another layer to his character. Every hardship was building capacity for the massive responsibility that was coming. When Pharaoh finally called for Joseph, he wasn't looking for someone who had lived an easy life. He was looking for someone who had been prepared through pressure. You want to know why you're still here, why you're still breathing despite everything you've been through? Because your greatest chapter hasn't been written yet. Because the movie of your life is just getting to the good part. Because what looks like an ending is actually an intermission. But here's what I need you to understand. Your preparation period is over. The foundation has been laid. The blueprint is complete. And tonight, God is ready to reveal the masterpiece He's been building in secret. Say it out loud right now. My pain was preparation, not punishment. Type it, speak it, claim it. Because chosen one, your body might be aging, but your spirit is just getting started. And what God is about to show you tonight will prove that your greatest days aren't behind you. They're about to begin. Are you ready to see the blueprint God drew for your life before time began? Now let me tell you something that's going to pierce straight through your soul like lightning. You think your pain was random. You think those devastating seasons that nearly destroyed you were just bad luck. Listen carefully, chosen one, because what I'm about to reveal will shatter everything you thought you knew about your story. There's a reason you were attacked before you ever knew you were chosen. Hell saw the blueprint of your destiny before you did. That's why the sabotage came so early. Think about it. Why would a 5-year-old child experience trauma that grown adults can barely handle? Why would someone with such a pure heart get betrayed by the very people who were supposed to protect them? Why would financial collapse hit your family just when breakthrough was supposed to come? Because the enemy knew who you were going to become. Every attack on your life was strategic. That childhood trauma that left you feeling worthless. Strategic. The financial devastation that made your family struggle for years. Strategic. The rejection from people you trusted most. Strategic. That illness that doctors said would kill you but somehow didn't. Strategic. Even that church hurt when the very people who were supposed to show you God's love became the ones who wounded you deepest. All of it was strategic. The devil doesn't waste ammunition on ordinary people. He doesn't send his strongest demons after average souls. You were targeted because hell's intelligence network saw your name written in heaven's hall of fame. John 10:10 tells us, "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy." But here's what most people miss. The thief doesn't come after empty houses. He comes after treasure. You were robbed because you were rich. You were attacked because you were armed. You were wounded because you were worthy. Do you remember being a child and feeling different? Like you could see things others couldn't. Like you had this burning fire inside you that made no sense. That wasn't your imagination. That was your destiny, trying to manifest before its time. The enemy launched a preemptive strike. He sent trauma to silence your voice before you learned how to use it. He sent poverty to break your spirit before you discovered your spiritual inheritance. He sent betrayal to make you build walls before you learned you were supposed to be a bridge. But here's where hell made its fatal miscalculation. They thought if they hit you hard enough, early enough, you'd give up. They thought if they broke you in pieces, you'd never put yourself back together. They thought if they convinced you that you were cursed, you'd never discover you were chosen. They were wrong. Every scar on your heart is proof that you survived what was meant to destroy you. Every tear you cried in secret was watering seeds of purpose that hell tried to kill. Every night you went to bed wondering if you'd ever be enough was a night your spirit was being forged in fire that only champions can endure. You're not damaged goods, chosen one. You're battle-tested equipment. That depression you fought through, it taught you how to find light in the darkest places. That anxiety that nearly consumed you, it made you sensitive to spiritual atmospheres that others can't even detect. That loneliness that felt like it would kill you, it prepared you to be a voice for every person who's ever felt forgotten. Your pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The enemy thought he was writing your obituary, but God was writing your origin story. Every villain that entered your life was actually training you for the hero you were always meant to become. Every giant that stood in your path was actually building the David muscles you'd need for the battles ahead. Look at your life right now. Look at what you've survived. Look at the impossibilities you've overcome. Look at the mountains you've moved without even knowing you were moving them. If your story wasn't important, you wouldn't have been targeted so hard. Ordinary people live ordinary lives with ordinary problems. But you've been through hell and back more times than you can count. You've been knocked down so many times that getting back up became your superpower. You've been broken so thoroughly that when God put you back together, He made you stronger than you ever were before. The fact that you're still here isn't coincidence, it's prophecy. Every attack that was meant to end your story only added another chapter. Every enemy that rose up against you only proved that there's something inside you worth fighting for. Every time hell threw its best shot at you and you survived, heaven took notes. You are the living proof that what God has ordained, hell cannot eliminate. Tonight, when your spirit leaves your body and you see yourself from heaven's perspective, you're going to understand why the battle for your life was so intense. You're going to see the thread of purpose that ran through every painful season. You're going to realize that every scar you carry is actually a stripe you've earned. The enemy's greatest weapon against you was making you believe you were a victim instead of a victor. But as your soul prepares to take flight tonight, that deception is being shattered forever. You're not the wounded one anymore. You're the weapon. Type, "I'm still here," in the comments if you know your survival wasn't random. If you understand that every breath you're taking right now is an act of defiance against every force that tried to silence you. Because chosen one, your story isn't ending tonight. It's just beginning. And now that you know why you were attacked, it's time to discover why you were chosen. It's time to see what happens when heaven takes the gloves off. Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to cut straight through every lie you've ever believed about yourself. You didn't forget God. You forgot yourself. For decades, maybe your entire life, you've been answering to names that heaven never gave you. Failure. Too old. Past your prime. Invisible. Forgotten. Worthless. But tonight, God is about to remind you of something your soul has always known, but the world buried under mountains of doubt and disappointment. You have a name in heaven, and it's nothing like what they called you down here. Think about this for a moment. When you were born, your parents looked at you and chose a name. But before that moment, before your first breath, before your heart beat for the first time in your mother's womb, God already had a name for you. A name that carries your purpose, your destiny, your divine assignment. Isaiah 62:2 tells us, "You will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow." Not the name your birth certificate carries, not the name your failures whispered, not the name your disappointment screamed. The name God calls you when He thinks about you in the quiet moments of eternity. But somewhere along the way, you started answering to other things, didn't you? You started believing that the limitations this world placed on you were the truth about who you are. You were told to sit down, be quiet, stay small, act your age, don't dream too big, don't reach too high, you're too old for that. It's too late for you. Every single one of those voices was a liar. Here's what breaks my heart, and what should break yours too. You've spent years, maybe decades, introducing yourself by names that God never gave you. I'm just a retiree. I'm just getting old. I'm just trying to get by. I'm nobody special. Stop it. Right now. Stop answering to things He never called you. God never forgot your name, chosen one. Even when you forgot it yourself. Even when you started believing the world's version of who you are instead of heaven's version. Even when you looked in the mirror and saw limitations instead of possibilities. You know what your real name sounds like? It sounds like purpose. It sounds like still called. It sounds like not finished yet. It sounds like chosen before the foundation of the world. It sounds like fearfully and wonderfully made. It sounds like more than a conqueror. That whisper you felt in the dark. That restless stirring at 3 a.m. That voice that says there's more. That was you, calling yourself home. Your soul has been trying to get your attention for years. It's been whispering your real name, your heaven name. But you've been too busy listening to the world's noise to hear it. Tonight, in the silence of your spirit's departure from flesh, you're finally going to hear it clearly. Picture this with me. Imagine a crown, royal and magnificent, but it's been buried under years of dust, dirt, and debris. People walk over it daily, never knowing what treasure lies beneath their feet. That crown is your identity. That crown is your name. That crown is who you really are. Tonight, God is brushing off the dust. I want you to feel this in your bones right now. You weren't created to blend in. You weren't designed to disappear. You weren't made to apologize for taking up space in this world. You were crafted by the hands of the Almighty to carry His light, His love, His power into places where darkness has ruled too long. But they convinced you otherwise, didn't they? They made you believe that your best days were behind you. They made you think that being older means being less valuable. They whispered that your dreams had expiration dates and your calling came with age restrictions. Every word was a lie from the pit of hell. God doesn't retire His chosen ones. He doesn't put expiration dates on His purposes. He doesn't create anyone to peak at 25 and coast downhill for the rest of their lives. That's not how heaven operates. That's not how your Creator designed you. Your name in heaven isn't senior citizen. It isn't past your prime. It isn't forgotten. Your name in heaven sounds like thunder when spoken. It echoes through eternity with purpose and power. Do you want to know why you can't sleep some nights? Do you want to know why you feel this unexplainable restlessness? Do you want to know why you look around and think, this can't be all there is? Because your soul remembers your real name, and it's been trying to wake you up. Tonight, when your spirit separates from flesh, when you journey beyond the physical realm, you're going to hear it clearly for the first time in years, maybe decades. You're going to remember who you were before the world told you who you should be. That name was whispered before time began, before the stars were hung in place, before the oceans were filled. God spoke your name into existence and attached a purpose to it that would outlast your physical body by millions of years. The question is, are you ready to remember? Are you ready to stop answering to names that never belonged to you? Are you ready to embrace the identity that heaven assigned you before your first breath? Are you ready to live the rest of your days knowing exactly who you are and why you're here? Type your real name in the comments below. The name you know heaven calls you by. Not the name on your driver's license. Not the name others use. The name your spirit recognizes when God whispers it in the quiet moments. The name that makes your soul sit up and pay attention, because tonight, chosen one, you're going home to yourself. And once you remember your real name, once you hear it spoken from the mouth of the divine, you'll never again answer to anything less than who you truly are. The movie of your life is about to reveal its most important character, the real you. When heaven starts moving through your earthly limbs, listen to me very carefully, chosen one. What's about to happen to you isn't just a spiritual experience. It's a complete rewiring of your entire existence. And I need you to understand something that's going to rock you to your core. You're not returning to your body the same way you left it. Think about this for a moment. Right now, as your soul prepares for this divine departure, your physical vessel is being prepared for something extraordinary. Heaven is installing new operating systems in your bones. God is upgrading the software of your spirit. And when you return, when your consciousness slides back into flesh and blood, you won't recognize the person you've become. Your eyes will carry flame, your words will carry thunder, your walk will carry prophecy. Let me ask you something that's going to cut straight to your heart. How many years have you walked through life feeling like you're sleepwalking? How many decades have you spoken words that felt empty, looked in mirrors that reflected someone you didn't recognize, taken steps that led nowhere meaningful? That version of you died tonight. See, most people think transformation is gradual. They believe change happens slowly, over months and years of effort and struggle. But you're not most people. You're chosen. And when heaven moves through chosen vessels, transformation doesn't crawl, it explodes. The prophet Jeremiah knew this fire. He said, "His word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones." That's not poetic language, beloved. That's prophetic reality. Right now, as your soul journeys beyond the veil, God's word is being written directly into your DNA. His fire is being lit in the marrow of who you are. Can you feel it starting? That tingling in your fingertips, that warmth spreading through your chest, that sudden clarity flooding your mind. That's not imagination. That's heaven downloading new programming into your operating system. You're being reformatted for divine purpose. But here's what terrifies the enemy about this moment. When you return to your body, you won't just be spiritually awakened, you'll be physically transformed. Your posture will change because you'll be carrying the weight of divine authority. Your voice will change because it will be resonating with heavenly frequencies. Your very presence will shift atmospheres because you'll be broadcasting on God's wavelength. People are going to notice. They're going to see something in your eyes they've never seen before. A depth, a knowing, a fire that wasn't there yesterday. They're going to hear something in your voice that makes them stop mid-sentence and listen. They're going to feel something in your presence that makes them uncomfortable or deeply hungry for what you carry. You think that scares you? It should excite you. For too long, you've been walking around carrying a 747 engine in a bicycle frame. You've had the power of heaven compressed into a life too small for your calling. But tonight, God is expanding your capacity. He's stretching your spiritual container. He's preparing you to hold more fire, more anointing, more divine purpose than you ever thought possible. But here's the part that's going to shake you. When you return to your body, you're not just going to feel different, you're going to be different. Your metabolism will change because your spirit will be burning hotter. Your sleep patterns will shift because you'll be operating on divine rhythm. Your relationships will transform because you'll be vibrating at a frequency that only draws heaven-minded people. Some people won't be able to stay around you anymore. And that's not a tragedy, that's a promotion. You're being moved into a new league, a higher dimension, a divine frequency where only those called to walk with you can survive the atmosphere you carry. The fire Jeremiah talked about, it's not just metaphorical. When God's word gets shut up in your bones, it literally changes your cellular structure. It rewrites your genetic code. It transforms you from the inside out until every fiber of your being is humming with divine electricity. You are not carrying purpose. You are purpose made flesh. Listen to me. Stop thinking about yourself as someone who has a calling. Start understanding yourself as someone who is the calling. You're not carrying a message. You are the message. You're not holding fire. You are the fire. And that changes everything. When you walk into a room tomorrow, you won't just be bringing good vibes. You'll be bringing the manifest presence of God. When you speak, you won't just be sharing opinions. You'll be releasing divine decrees that shift spiritual atmospheres. When you pray, you won't just be hoping for answers. You'll be commanding heaven to move. This is your commissioning. Right now, in this very moment, Heaven is placing divine orders into your spiritual DNA. You're being programmed for miracles, calibrated for breakthrough, formatted for the impossible. If you feel fire in your chest, type "awakened" in all caps. This is your commissioning, because what's happening to you tonight isn't just personal transformation, it's cosmic preparation. God is preparing you to step into a role that will impact generations, a calling that will shift atmospheres, a purpose that will change the very fabric of reality around you. And it starts the moment you return to your body. The question isn't whether you're ready. The question is whether the world is ready for what you're about to become. Chosen one, let me tell you something nobody else will dare to say. The moment you step into the real you, resistance begins. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The second your soul starts to separate from this physical prison, every force in hell will mobilize against you. You thought the hardest part was discovering you were chosen. You were wrong. The hardest part is what happens next. Not everyone will clap. Some will be confused. Some will leave. Some will attack. Your own family will look at you like you've lost your mind. Your friends will whisper behind your back. What happened to them? They used to be so normal. The people who claimed they loved you will suddenly find reasons to distance themselves. Why? Because your light exposes their darkness, and they can't stand it. You've been lit like a match. Don't be surprised when shadows try to surround you. Here's what's going to happen in the next 48 hours. The moment you start operating from your spirit instead of your flesh, you're going to feel like you're walking through thick mud. Every step forward will feel like you're pushing against an invisible wall. Your phone will ring with drama. Your email will flood with problems. Your bank account might get attacked. Your health might get tested. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual warfare. The enemy knows something about you that you're just discovering. He knows that once you fully step into your spiritual body, once you start operating from that realm of unlimited power, you become unstoppable. So he's going to throw everything he's got at you right now while you're still learning to walk in this new dimension. Nehemiah faced the same resistance. When he was rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, doing the great work God called him to do, his enemies came at him from every angle. They mocked him. They threatened him. They tried to distract him with meetings and conferences and urgent matters that seemed important, but were really just traps. And Nehemiah said something that will save your life. I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. That's your response when the saboteurs come. When your mother calls crying about some manufactured crisis. When your boss suddenly needs you to work overtime every night this week. When your spouse picks a fight out of nowhere. When your body starts aching in places that never hurt before. I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. But here's where it gets dangerous. The resistance isn't just external. The most vicious attacks will come from inside your own mind. You're going to wake up tomorrow and think, was that real? Did I really experience what I think I experienced? Maybe I'm just losing it. Maybe I should just go back to being normal. That voice is not you. That's the saboteur that tried to stop you, and now he's trying to confuse you. He's going to replay every failure in your past. Every time someone called you crazy. Every time you tried to step into something bigger and fell flat on your face, he's going to whisper, see? You're not special. You're not chosen. You're just delusional. But you've seen the blueprint now. You cannot go back. You cannot unsee what you've seen. You cannot unfeel what you've felt. You cannot unknow what you now know about who you really are. That spiritual realm you touched, that connection you made, that freedom you experienced when your soul left your body, that was more real than anything you've ever known. The reason the resistance feels so intense is because you're threatening a system that has kept humanity asleep for centuries. You're not just changing your own life. You're becoming a walking, breathing example that there's more to existence than what they've told us. You're proving that ordinary people can access extraordinary dimensions, and that terrifies the powers that be. So they're going to send everything they can to make you doubt, to make you retreat, to make you crawl back into that small, safe, predictable life where you never cause any trouble and never threaten their control. But let me ask you something. Now that you know you can fly, are you really going to choose to crawl? Now that you've tasted spiritual freedom, are you really going to chain yourself back to the physical? Now that you've seen who you really are you really going to pretend to be someone else? The resistance is proof you're on the right path. If what you experienced last night was fake, if this spiritual awakening was just your imagination, then why is hell working so hard to stop you? Why are the demons in such a panic? Why is every distraction in the world suddenly showing up at your door? Because they know what's coming next. They know that once you fully stabilize in this new realm, once you learn to operate consistently from your spiritual body instead of your physical limitations, you're going to become a weapon of mass transformation. People are going to look at your life and say, "I want what they have," and the whole system of control starts to crumble. So expect the storm. Welcome the resistance. Let it confirm that you're exactly where you need to be. The next 72 hours are going to test everything you believe about yourself and your calling. But remember this, you don't fight spiritual battles with physical weapons. You don't overcome supernatural resistance with natural solutions. You've been given access to a realm where the impossible becomes inevitable. The question is, will you stay there when the pressure mounts? Chosen one, as we come to the end of this sacred journey together, I need you to remember 3 things that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, what you experienced tonight was real. When the world tries to convince you it was just your imagination, when doubt creeps in during the quiet hours, remember this moment. Your soul left your body. You touched the divine realm. You saw who you really are beyond flesh and bone. That wasn't a dream. That was your awakening. Second, the resistance you're about to face is proof of your calling. Every attack, every distraction, every voice telling you to go back to sleep, they're all confirmation that you've stepped into something powerful. The enemy only fights what threatens him. Your spiritual awakening has shaken the very foundations of darkness. Third, you are not the same person who started watching this video. You've been changed at the cellular level. Your DNA has been rewritten by divine encounter. You cannot go back to who you were, because that person no longer exists. But here's what I want you to know with absolute certainty. You are not alone in this. God is not finished with you. In fact, He's just getting started. The same power that separated your soul from your body tonight is the same power that's going to guide you through every challenge ahead. And there's a community of chosen ones just like you, walking this same path, fighting the same battles, discovering the same incredible truths. We're here, we're praying, we're believing with you. Let me ask you something before we close. Now that you know who you really are, what are you going to do with this revelation? How will you live differently? How will you love differently? How will you serve differently? I want to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me what you experienced. Tell me what you felt. Ask me your questions. I read every single one, and I'll do my best to answer. Your story matters. Your journey matters. And sharing it might be exactly what another chosen one needs to hear tonight. If this message has touched your soul, please share it. There's someone in your life right now who needs to know they're not crazy, they're not alone, and they're not imagining things. They need to know they're chosen too. Don't keep this light to yourself. Let it shine. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell, because this is just the beginning. We're building something here, a community of awakened souls who refuse to settle for ordinary when they were created for extraordinary. Thank you for trusting me with your time tonight. Thank you for opening your heart. Thank you for saying yes to this divine invitation. Now, before you go, let me pray over you. Father God, I place my hand on the shoulder of every person watching this right now. Lord, they've taken a step of faith tonight that has changed them forever. Their soul has touched your realm, and they will never be the same. I pray that you would strengthen them for the journey ahead. When doubt whispers, Let your spirit shout louder. When fear tries to grip them, remind them of the freedom they felt tonight. When the world tells them to be small, help them remember they were created